And welcome back. We're in Nye County, and this is Nye County, and Chuck Augustine to my left, your right, and I'm to Chuck's right and your left. I wanted to read something that I pulled off of Twitter today. It's from a guy that goes by the name of U/Lone Star Believer. He says, from 2001 to 2005, there was an ongoing investigation into the Clinton Foundation. A grand jury had been impaneled. Governments from around the world had donated to that charity. And yet from 2001 to 2003, none of these donations to the Clinton Foundation were declared. Now, you'd think that an honest investigator would be able to figure this out. Look over the investigation in 2005. None other than James Comey, who was doing the investigation. Coincidence? Guess who transferred into the Internal Revenue Service to run the tax exemption branch of the IRS? None other than Lois, be on the lookout, Lerner. Isn't that interesting? Now, but all this is just a series of strange coincidences, right? Guess who ran the tax division inside the Department of Justice from 2001 to 2005? No other than Assistant Attorney General of the United States, Rod Rosenstein. Guess who was the director of the Federal Bureau of Investigation this time? Another coincidence, but it was Robert Mueller. What do all these casting characters have in common? They were briefed and/or were frontline investigators into the Clinton Foundation investigation. Another coincidence, right? Let's fast forward to 2009. James Comey leaves the Justice Department to go on work for Lockheed Martin. Hillary Clinton is running the State Department official government business on her own email server. The Uranium One issue comes to the attention of Hillary. Like all good public servants do, supposedly looking out for America's best interests, she decides to support a decision to approve the sale of 20% of U.S. uranium to no other than the Russians. Now, you'd think that this is a fairly straight-up deal, except it wasn't. America got absolutely nothing out of it. However, prior to the sale's approval, no other than Bill Clinton goes to Moscow, gets paid $500,000 for one speech, then meets with Vladimir Putin at his home for a few hours. Okay, no big deal, right? Well, not so fast. The FBI had a mole inside the money laundering and bribery scheme. Robert Mueller was the FBI director during this time frame. Yep. He even delivered the uranium sample to Moscow in 2009. Who was handling that case within the Department of Justice out of the U.S. Attorney's Office in Maryland? No other than Rod Rosenstein. And what happened to that informant? The Department of Justice played a gag order on him and threatened to lock him up if he ever spoke out about it. How does 20% of the most strategic asset of the United States of America end up in Russian hands when an FBI informant, a mole, providing inside information to the FBI regarding that criminal enterprise? Very soon thereafter, the sale was approved. $145 million in donations made their way into the Clinton Foundation from entities directly connected to the Uranium One deal. Excuse me. Guess who is still at the Internal Revenue Service working in the charitable division? None other than Lois Lerner. Okay, now that's just another series of coincidences, right? Nothing here to see. Now let's fast forward to 2015. Due to a series of tragic events in Benghazi after the 9 investigations of the House and State Department, Trey Gowdy, who is running the 10th investigation as a chairman of the Select Committee on Benghazi, discovers that Hillary ran the State Department on those unclassified, unauthorized, outlaw personal email servers. He also discovered that none of those emails had ever been turned over when she departed her public service as Secretary of State, which was required by law. He also discovered there was a top secret information contained within her personally archived emails. Sparing you the State Department's cover-up, the nostrums they floated, the delay tactics were employed, and the outright lies that were spewed forth from the decks of the Kerry State Department, we'll leave it with this. They did everything humanly possible to cover up for Hillary. Now, this is amazing guess who became FBI director in 2013. Yes, none other than James Comey, who secured 17 no-bid contracts for his employer, Lockheed Martin, with the State Department, and was awarded a $6 million thank you present when he departed his employer, Lockheed Martin. Amazing how all those no bids just went right through the state, huh? Now he's the FBI, or he was the FBI director in charge of the Clinton email investigation. After, of course, his FBI investigates the Lois Lerner matter at the Internal Revenue Service and exonerates her. Nope, couldn't find any claims with old Lois. In April 2016, James Comey drafts an exoneration letter of Hillary Rodham Clinton. Meanwhile, the DOJ is handing out immunity deals like candy. They never even did convene a grand jury. Like a lightning bolt of statistical impossibility, like a miracle from God himself, like the true gangsta Comey is, James steps up into the cameras of a waiting press conference on July 8, 2016 and exonerates Hillary from any wrongdoing. Do you see the pattern? It goes on and on. Rothenstein then becomes Assistant U.S. Attorney General. Comey gets fired based on a letter by Rothenstein. Comey leaks government information to the press. Mueller is assigned to the Russian investigation sham by Rothenstein, who provide cover for decades of malfeasance within the FBI and DOJ, and the story continues. The FISA abuse, political espionage, pick a crime, any crime. Chances are this group and others did it. All the same players, all compromised and conflicted, all working fervently not to go to jail themselves, all connected in one way or another to the Clintons. They're like battery acid. They corrode, they corrupt everything they touch. How many lives have these destroyed? And in this writing, the Clinton Foundation, in its 20-plus years of operation, being the largest international charity fraud in the history of mankind, has never been audited by the Internal Revenue Service. Thanks, Lois. Let's not forget that Comey's brother works for DLA Piper, a law firm that does the Clinton Foundation taxes. That person, or the person that is the common denominator to all these crimes and is still doing her evil escape legal maneuvers in the top 3-letter USA agencies. Yep, that would be Hillary R. Clinton. Now, who is Lisa Barzmuzian? Well, let's hear a little bit about Ms. Barzmuzian's background. Lisa Barzmuzian is an attorney, graduated from Georgetown Law, is a protege of James Comey and Robert Mueller. Barzmuzian, with her boss, Craig Lawrence, represented Bill Clinton in 1998. Lawrence also represented Robert Mueller 3 times, James Comey 5 times, Barack Obama 45 times, Kathleen Sebelius 56 times, Bill Clinton 40 times, Hillary Clinton 17 times. Between 1998 and 2017, Barzmuzian herself represented the FBI at least 5 times. You may be saying to yourself, okay, who cares? Who cares about this work history? Let's see. This work history of this Barzmuzian woman. Apparently, someone does, because someone out there cares so much that they purged all of Barzmuzian court documents for her Clinton representation in the Hamburg versus Clinton matter in 1998 and its appeal in 1999 from the D.C. District Court of Appeals, and the court dockets have been wiped clean. Someone out there cares so much that even the internet has been purged of all information pertaining to Barzmuzian. Her name is spelled, by the way, Barsoomian. Historically, this indicates that an individual is protected CIA operative. Additionally, Lisa Barzmuzian has specialized in opposing Freedom of Information Act requests on behalf of the intelligence community. Although Barzmuzian has been involved in hundreds of cases representing the D.C. offices of the U.S. Attorney, her email address is lisabarzmuzian@nih.gov. NIH stands for National Institutes for Health. This is a tactic routinely used by the CIA to protect an operative by using another government organization to shield their activities. It's a cover-up, right? So no big deal. What does one more attorney with ties to the U.S. intelligence community really matter? It deals with Trump and his recent tariffs on Chinese steel and aluminum imports, the border wall, DACA, everything coming out of California, the Uni Party unrelenting opposition to President Trump, the Clapper leaks, the Comey leaks, Attorney General Jeff Sessions' recusal, and subsequent 14-month nap with occasional forays into the marijuana legalization mix. And at last but not least, Robert Mueller's never-ending investigation into collusion between Trump team and the Russians. Why does Barzmuzian, CIA operative, merit any attention? Because she's the Assistant Attorney General Rod Rosenstein's wife. So there you have it, people. That is information that we need to look into. At least you need to look it on your own. Also, try on your own to find this stuff. It's out there, but you got to dig for it. And the important thing is, once you find it, put it on a social network and get it out as fast as you can before they block it, because all the social networks are CIA controlled as well.
Okay, Gary, sorry we've had you waiting for a while. What do you got for us?
Okay, I just want to go into human nature, okay, where there's a trick to each trade. Now, I mean by that, all right, from being a... Hello? Okay, now, there's a trick to each trade, from a carpenter to a lawyer, okay? Now, only you people know what the tricks of your trade are. Even being a cop, there's a trick of the trade. Now, from the Clintons all the way to Obama, and with Bush that started a war, okay, that's what it amounts to all the way up until today, there's a trick to each trade. Now, as far as our president goes, okay, as long as he follows through what he says and do, okay, I am glad what he's doing. Now, everybody, if they want to get into detail, all politicians, okay, the cops to everybody, should be investigated. And I bet you there's a lot of things in the closet.
I agree with you 100%, Gary. We totally lost accountability. And that's throughout the federal government, the state government, and the local government. And part of that accountability is the news, is the media. And none of it exists anymore.
Okay, I just want to say one thing, I'll get off the air. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. That old mean Russian that came over here, okay, in the 60s or 59, okay, you're going to hurt within you. And the more modernized this country gets, the worse it's getting. Okay. I'll hear you what you talk about. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Gary. Yeah, the last part, the technology, is it getting better because of it? Is our lives getting better? I just spent 2 weeks with my granddaughters, and they walk, everywhere they walk, they've got the phone in front of them. As they're eating, they're watching their games. And I look at the nightmare. Okay, we're getting near break time.
What everyone needs to do, if you've never seen the movie The Gods Must Be Crazy,
oh yeah,
you need to rent it, find it, whatever. And the gist of that is that the happiest people in the world were the Bushmen in Africa, and I'm sure South America, whatever.
Right.
But they were totally, they never even seen white people before. They thought airplanes were from the gods, and but they were totally happy. And this little gentleman tries to return this Coke bottle, to its owner, and finds out how screwed up the world is, and they imprison him for a while, and finally he goes back home. I mean, he throws the Coke bottle into the
end of the world.
Yeah.
And there's several episodes of it too. There's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, we're going to go to break. See you on Flip Flop.